last little bit, and I want you guys to understand that a lot of the things that I say is to provoke you to dig further into God's Word. Some of the things I've said, and you guys, some of you may know this, some of you may not, but we talk a lot about contradictions in the Bible. That's because a lot of people believe there's contradictions in the Bible, and I don't want you guys to get this in your head that I believe that there are. There may be some misunderstandings in there. There may be a lack of some understandings in there. But the contradictions, no, not so much. God has never been wrong about himself through eternity. So you've heard me, some of you may have heard me say this, that and this is Ecclesiastes, says there's nothing new under the sun. But Jesus said he's going to do a new thing. And if you look at it from that perspective, that's kind of contrary to itself. Isaiah 43 says, I'm doing a new thing. And this is God talking to Israel. And he says about making a way through the wilderness and streams into the wasteland. All right. Revelation 21 is the one that says, behold, I am making all things new. Where Jesus is going to do a new thing. So I want you to understand this. This is not in contradiction of itself. Okay? This is about the best that I could tell you is about how we perceive things. And it creates for me, it used to create a really timeline issue. I had a timeline issue with this. That how many knows how long ago Jesus was crucified? Anybody know? About 2,000 years. But then when you look into other places in the Bible, Revelation again, you look into Revelation. This was about the Lamb slain before the foundation of the world. So when did it happen? Right? Do we got a contradiction in our Bible here, or we just got a misunderstanding of what God's doing? 1 Peter says 1 Peter 1 says, it was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but manifest in the last times for you. And again, the last times, that's 2,000 years ago. Is that the last times? This would explain a little bit more about when we talk about the last days. This is not the last days. This is the end of the age. Is there a contradiction in that? Or is it we just don't understand it? We're not seeing it through the eyes that God has gave us to see it through. We're not hearing it through the ears that he's given us to listen to. So Ephesians also says, for he chose, and this I just throw this in there because this is so big for me, but Ephesians 1:4 says, for he chose us in him before the foundation of the world. He chose us before the foundation of the world. So what's that say to you, that you weren't just born here by your mom and dad? You guys have already been thought about and already been chose. But what did he choose us? He said he chose us before him, or in him, before the foundation of the world, to be holy and blameless in his presence. And this is in love. Holy and blameless in his presence, in love. So this is the view that we need to start taking of things. We need to start taking the view of love. Because if you're not taking the view of love and you're viewing it from the world, then we are not holy and blameless. Right? We're guilty and at fault. This is some of that stuff I would really just love to get broke off of people. I have a hard enough time getting it broke off me. It's rough sometimes to do. So what do we got? We got like contradictions, really, problems in the timeline, ideology crisis. I mean, because that's kind of, or we got an identity crisis. We have that. Is every bit of this just a lack of understanding on our part? And because this is our view is lack. Not supposed to be, but so what we're not doing here is maybe we're just not using our minds the way we were intended to use them. All right. We're listening and believing without proof in it in the Spirit. Do you guys know that? I mean, this is another one of them things that the world has done. So what do they do with alcohol? They call it spirits, and it's got a proof. And what that proof does is tell you how strong it is, how much of it's in there. This is their counterfeit of the Spirit. We want to know it. We need to proof it. And we'll proof it through the Spirit, and we'll find out how strong it is. We'll find out how much impact it's got on our lives. But this is the way that the empire, and I want you guys to just have that word in you, the empire, this is the world. The Holy Roman Empire was a thing. And the empire showed up here in the time that it showed up here so that God could bring Jesus to life into this place to let you know that the kingdom was contrary to the empire. I used to think it was the other way around. I used to think that the empire had to exist here so that we'd be able to understand how a empire works so that we could understand the workings of the kingdom. And I was wrong. I was taught that, and I was wrong. This is contrary to it. So everybody that wants to believe that any of the churches and any of the governments that we have in this world is not empire, you're mistaken. This church right here, as much as we want to be all kingdom, we still have empire thinking in our minds, and that's what needs to be rooted out. It's not I'm not pointing fingers at nobody and blaming them, telling them you're at fault for this. What I'm saying is this is stuff that God was trying to break off of us from the very beginning. So what do we need to do this with? Right, we need wisdom. John 16:13 says the Spirit will lead us into all truth. Right, the truth is that we need wisdom. We absolutely, I don't know what else you need. You'd have some wisdom in you. There's a lot of things that you would be able to deal with. James says if you lack wisdom, ask. You want to know what the prereq is to getting wisdom? You guys know what a prereq is? It's the stuff that they hit you with in college, all them classes that you don't really need to get you set up for the next classes that you do need. But a prereq is just something that you need to be able to carry on with. This prereq here is set up by God, so we know it's right. It's not like a lot of the colleges stuff. And I don't need sociology for math. So he says, just ask. Ask. You go after knowledge and you lacking wisdom, ask. Is anybody, I mean, this is it. Just ask it. Ask it and receive it. Now, one of the things that I have an issue with, and me and the wife have talked about this, is we do absolutely need to learn how to ask for things. Most of us are never taught to ask for things from God the right way. But more important is what you ask. So I was listening to somebody the other day, and they're a pretty credible person, and I don't know what book they were reading or anything else, but it just really struck something in me. And he said that there was somebody wrote a book, and they posted it up out, and it said, it was talking about the questions that Jesus asked the disciples and the questions that the disciples asked Jesus, and they said, how many questions did the disciples ask Jesus? And it supposedly was just a little less than 200, I believe it was. And they said, well, how many questions did Jesus ask the disciples? And it was over 300. And it struck me because generally when I'm speaking with God about things or I'm wanting to know, that God's usually asking me questions. And it took me a while to realize it's because he put the answers in me already. They're there. I'm not seeing them the right way, so therefore he provokes me on the right channels of my thought to find them. And if not, he points me back into the book because they're right there. But this again is about perspective. So then it went on and said, how many of them did Jesus answer? And there's a little bit of discrepancy about this. One person said 3, the other one said 8. Either way, it didn't matter. It was very few questions that he actually answered. And you realize that the questions that he answered were about kingdom. He didn't answer questions about any of the other stuff. Most of the time when someone asked him a question about something else, he just asked them back because they weren't in the proper place. They weren't in the way that they should have been. So when you look on down, James 4:3, I knew this stuff was all together, but it says you ask and you do not receive because you ask amiss. Do we know what that means? That means you have wrong motives and you're going to spend it on your own pleasures. This is the flesh asking for the flesh. So when you're asking things and you're not receiving things, maybe you should look about what it is that you're asking for. This is the important question. It's like, God, why do I feel this way? Wrong question. That's a wrong question. You need to get further back to the root, because I will guarantee you already know why you feel that way. He knows why you feel that way. And he's really not concerned with your feelings. It's about what you're going to do. I know we do a lot of emotional stuff, and I'm just not quite geared that way. Not that we don't need it, but we misuse it. The same as we misuse, our anger. Jesus was angered, but he didn't sin. How's that possible? So is it possible to be upset and not sin? Well, yeah. Is it possible to be emotional and not get distracted and run off down the wrong? Yes. And most of this stuff comes from us having a wrong view of the whole world because we didn't understand the beginning of it. I think we have a lot of misconception. I know we do about some things, but even the precepts of God, which I believe is one of the most important things that we could have. We could have his first ideas about why things are the way they are. I'm just going to tell you this up front. I ain't got them all figured out. My walk is a walk, and it's a path, and it's a road, and I'm moving, and I'm going, but I don't know all the answers. And anybody that would stand up here and tell you that they got all the answers to everything, you better just leave them alone. Because they ain't got all the answers. They ain't but one's got all the answers. And this is who we should be asking. It's not that we shouldn't be led by people. There's some really good spiritually filled people that we need to hear, and we need to listen to them. But when you do that, we're supposed to take that word and rightly divide it according to what? We're going to proof it by the Spirit. This is what we're going to do with it. And if something ain't setting right with you, proof it by the Spirit, and maybe you'll find out you're the one that's wrong. They could be right. You have to accept the fact sometimes that you could be wrong about something. We go to asking for wisdom because, and this is what happens to us a lot of times. We ask for wisdom about the things that's going on around us, and we receive wisdom in it, and it doesn't line up with what you thought it was going to, we throw it out. And then we say, well, God ain't answering me. He did answer, you just don't like it. That's they won't nobody else amen it. I'm gonna So the view that we have of everything in our world, and this is because this is the world view, so we have a view of this is lack. right? And I've heard this taught on before a few times, but this is what they call a scarcity view. That things are scarce. It's like we don't have enough. Like there's not enough food, there's not enough water. Land's a big one. There's not enough land. There's not enough of anything. We also believe in a separation view. I've been taught this from the time I was even little, before I even went to church and knew anything about God, that I was separated from God. You can believe that if you want to, but that's not my view. This is the view of the world. This is the view of the empire. It keeps you in lack and it keeps you separated. You know what happens with the people when they come together? They'll tear down a government that's been wrong. They'll tear down a government or anything that has violated them if they come together. But if they're separated, it won't happen. They'll keep you at each other's throat. This is why the view of the empire is separation and scarcity. How many of you guys remember the big scare of COVID when there was not enough toilet paper for everybody? How many of us know that toilet paper had nothing to do with COVID? How many of you ran to the store and bought toilet paper? Because we took that view. They told us that and we believed that. And we took that view. I didn't go to the bathroom no more before COVID or after COVID or during COVID. It's been the same for me. So I just want to say this to you, and I'm going to give you some more of this stuff, just like this stuff up here before when we were talking about things almost being contradicted of each other. I don't tell you things like this because I believe they're contradictive. I tell you things like this because this is what God does to me, and He challenges me with things. He's never been wrong about it yet. I keep looking because He keeps on asking me the questions, and He keeps on challenging me to these things. And all he's really trying to do to me is get me to search Him out. Search His Word, to be a part of what He's trying to get me to be a part of. So we see Adam and Eve being thrown out of the garden because of sin. I've heard that. That's all my life. This is the way that it's been. Do you know the word sin was never used in that story? The word sin doesn't show up until Cain and Abel. And even then, it's a little not what you think it is. Now, this was what Moses writing all of this stuff. Was it Moses? Who wrote it? Exodus, yeah, okay. Genesis, Moses wrote all this stuff. I don't know whether he just missed that or if the view that he took on it then was a view of kingdom and not of empire. So that's a whole big thing, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I will tell you this. For me, this is how I seen this, is that they lacked discipline and God didn't have enough love, so they had to go, right? They had to be separated from God. But that's what we believe. Whether you still believe it or whether you don't believe it, it doesn't matter. That's the way that we see that. So what did Adam and Eve do when they had ate from the tree? They went and hid. So did they separate themselves or did God separate them? The Bible says that no man would pluck you out of his hand, that you would never, ever be able to separate yourself from the love of God. Yet here we are. But as far as I know, He showed up. They say He showed up for the walk. That was a scheduled thing for them. That's what they did, and He showed up for it. Like I said, that's a bigger, deeper lesson, and that's another now. So again, I'm going to say this, that our worldview for the most, it's an empire view, and this is scarcity and separation. And does anybody know what the kingdom is all about? It's fullness and unity. Now it says the earth even, that's his. And the fullness thereof. So everything here belongs to him. Do you really believe there's scarcity of the things that are here? God said fullness. That's what he said. Fullness. It's his. So it's mine. It's yours. It's ours. This is us. This is unity. This is one. It belongs to him, so therefore it belongs to us. He is in me and I'm in him. We cannot be separated. We just need to stop that. I believe that this is why we miss the mark, because we believe there's lack, and therefore we operate in lack. We operate like there's lack. We operate like we're separated. And if we could get that mentality changed in us, it would change the way that we walk. It would change the way that we talk. It would change the way that we see everything. It's even caused us to believe some of the stuff in the Bible. It's like we operate from, the best that I could say, is just wrong positions. I mean, because we believe crazy stuff because we let the empire define words. And when the empire defines things about you, then the Bible starts to sound crazy. So I just want to tell you this, I'm not a crusader. Because the mentality of a crusader through the empire is that we're going to bring him to Christ or we're going to kill him. You guys know that's what the Crusades were all about. And it's like it was such a great time, it's like everybody, it was horrible. The first people they killed, they come across as the Jews. But as a crusader, I'm going to love them until there's no choice but to change. Now, you tell me which definition you want to live under. Because one of them is not out of love. I'm not a conqueror. I'm not the conqueror as defined by the empire. I'm going to beat them down till they submit. But we all know the Bible says we're more than conquerors. So we don't want to just be this conqueror, right? The conqueror we should be would be to heal them so they could see God as good. This is who we should be. You want to conquer people? Heal their problems. Heal their brokenness. Heal who they are. Let them see who God is. You want to conquer somebody? It'll work. And this whole warrior mentality that we'd have, not a warrior. Warriors rule a battlefield with fear and control. Let's do COVID again. Did we get that one? We're lacking in toilet paper. Fear and control. That's how the warriors rule. Not a warrior. The warrior that we should be would be the ones that would destroy a battlefield with peace that God provides us in an abundance to carry with us. You want to destroy a battlefield, you want to defeat anything out there that stands against God, bring it peace. Peace will straighten it out. Peace will take you when you're in a position that you have had the worst thing in your life ever happen to you, and if you could get peace to fall over top of you, it won't matter. Peace will fix it. So I'm going to say one last thing here. In an empire, you earn. That's what the empire expects out of you. You earn it. In a kingdom, you receive. And you just think about what it says all around you. I mean, just like you can earn this stuff, you can earn like free gas, free groceries. I seen a sign the other day on a fast food chain out. It said, earn free food. And we believe it. We walk right in it because we have the mentality of the empire. It says you got to earn everything. And you know what the Bible says about us earning stuff? The Bible says the wages of sin is death. So what you earn is death. That's what you earned. That's it. That's what you earned. Free gift, that's what you receive. If it's a gift, you receive it. If you earn it, it ain't free. What do you receive from God? You receive life. You receive life. And I know everybody's got a weird concept about what life is, but we're already walking in eternity. I just want to tell you that. There's no end. There's no end to the kingdom. There's no end to us. The body might fall away, but we're not ending. We're walking in eternity right now. Well, what we receive from God is life, and what you receive from sin is death. It's like it's not a hard math problem, but we complicate it, but we've complicated it from the very beginning. So much so, this is the one very last thing, I promise you, this is the last thing I'm going to give you. Because this is one thing that it's just tore me up. Because I just have such an issue with it. And this is about prereqs again. And we all know what salvation is. We believe in salvation. What I've had a hard time with is because of what we've traded out, and we have traded out the gospel of grace of the kingdom for salvation gospel. That's what we've traded. And here, this where my problem lays with this is because a prereq for salvation, right? The gospel. If we have a gospel of salvation, this requires you to believe you're guilty. That's what it requires. The kingdom gospel, grace, it requires you to believe you're loved. Do we need to shed that mentality of guilt from us? Yes, we do. We absolutely do. I hate it that it seems easier for us to believe you're guilty instead of loved. But this is the mentality that we have of the empire. This is what we've been taught. And not just taught, but this is the thing that's been marched in front of us and around us and on us. And we have seen it and seen it and seen it and seen it until this becomes our reality. And the reality of God is that He loved you so much. He has done everything. He's not gonna do it. He already did it. He has done everything from the very beginning to put you in the place that you should be with Him. With Him. It is absolutely open for everyone to be with Him. I have lost a lot of concern about my gifts, my callings, what I'm supposed to be doing all the time, where I'm supposed to be at. And this has been another conversation at my house with my wife that I've said, I don't care. My only objective, and this is something I've been trying to implement into my life from the time I wake up, my only objective is to get with God. That's my objective. And if I get with Him, it's almost like diving into the water. And it's like, I want to go for a swim. It's like, do you need to get wet first before you? No. When you dive in, you will get wet. So when I get in with God, I don't worry about all the stuff I'm supposed to be doing, because that's what's going to happen. Because I'm going to follow Him. And He's going to put my feet where He wants them to be. And He's going to show me the things that He wants me to see. He's going to turn my definitions of a crusader and a conqueror and a warrior into the things that He wants them to be. And I begin to operate my life out of a place of love and out of a place of accomplishment, out of a place of togetherness, not a place of envy, but a place of being thankful for other people and how they've really just, man, you see people have stuff that just go good in their life, and most of us look at them, and I say most of us because this used to be me, and it's like, man, I wish I could have that. It's like, you don't need to wish you could have that. Be thankful that they have that. Keep your walk with God, and the desires of your heart's going to fill you up, and it's going to manifest in your life. And a lot of times you figure out that a lot of the blessings that we have in this world, they ain't that important to you anymore. It's more important for me to stand here and be with you guys than a lot of things in this world. I would hate to bring a list forth, but I love being here even more than I love just being with my own family. I'd really love my own family to be here, but I'll spend my time here first. And I'm not trying to separate nobody from that thing, because when I get the opportunity, I have those talks. I have those walks. I'm saying that the things that I love has become more involved into the place of what God's got going for me right now. And my perception of my family is salvation. But what I'm going to have to do with them, I guess, is try to get them to realize that they're loved more than they are guilty. So that's all I have for this morning. We'll be back here in a few minutes, and we'll just let the Spirit fill the place and lead us into whatever He has for us today.